There have been many powerful warriors throughout the millennia. But ages of mortal combat have begun to tear the fabric of the realms. The critical point has finally been reached. It was foreseen that combatants would one day grow too powerful and too numerous. If left unchecked, their intensifying combat would weaken and shatter the realms and bring about the apocalypse. The Elder Gods demanded a safeguard put in place to avoid total destruction. One that would make use of the combatants' insatiable bloodlust. Like moths to flame, they would be drawn to battle. At the apex of destruction, alliances will be broken. And old hatreds will be revived. At last, it has come to this final battle. Armageddon has begun.
So we pick up where we left off, with Lucifer trying to hunt down Thoth, who has taken it upon himself to assume that because of the trap that he has been lured into becoming a pawn in a game too large for him to even see the manipulations leading him, he blindly becomes obsessed with the destruction of the archangels, whom he now views as petty unevolved beings that masquerade as gods to the people, not as the highest ascension of heroes and legends, but as an illusioned group of beings no less or more than the mortals they control, nothing close to what he considers himself to be, a manifested incarnate of a true God upon the earth, an image that should be revered instead of patronized as the Egyptian gods had done to him. The tale begins once again with Thoth devising the destruction of their angelic guardians, who shall be depicted here as the pillars of balance. But there is one problem that could unfold all his plans and deluded dreams: Lucifer. Realizing that Lucifer possessed a power that far surpassed any magic he had ever encountered, he began to form a path to possessing such power himself. Thus he started orchestrating a means to attain this by aiming for his heavenly brother and undermining his foretold destiny by sculpting the prophecies of Horus in order to pinpoint specific areas of Jesus's life and store the spells needed to perform the miracles that will deify him as anything but a mortal man, so that he can assume his position within the Trinity angels of creation and destroy his elusive future incarnate through surpassing his position of authority as the favored Son of God.
Whole and uncorrupted. I had never beheld them in this undefiled state, yet something profound and indelible resonated within me at the sight. And there, waiting at the very heart of the pillars, was the canker that was destined to destroy them.
I know you're there, Raziel.
Mobius led me to you, Cain, though I might have guessed you'd meet me here.
And if Mobius told you I was hidden on the underside of hell, would you throw yourself into oblivion to pursue me? Mobius trawls for the ignorant and unwary, hauling his gasping prey from the streams of their destinies. Stay out of his net, Raziel.
Spare me your elaborate metaphors, Cain. I have pursued you here for one purpose. You will pay for your betrayal, and balance will thus be restored to Nosgoth.
And whose will is satisfied then? The will of Raziel or Mobius?
Would I be better manipulated by you, Cain? Now, turn and face me. The chase is over.
This isn't a chase, Raziel. We are merely passengers on the wheel of destiny, describing a perfect circle to this point. We've been brought here for a reason. I've seen the beginning and the end of our story, however, and the tale is crude and ill-conceived. We must rewrite the ending of it. You and I.
Face me, Cain. Even you shouldn't die a coward's death.
Isn't it customary to grant the condemned a final request?
I recall no such courtesy from you.
Indulge me, Raziel. All I ask is that you listen. This is the sublime moment of our undoing, Raziel. The ineffable fulcrum upon which swings the entirety of our history. This is where all of Nosgoth is betrayed. In this instant, Ariel, the Balance Guardian, is murdered by dark forces bent on overthrowing the Pillars. Her spirit is just now tearing free, lost in the ether, trying to find its way here. You have already seen how she comes to haunt these Pillars.
Bound here by your refusal to die. You are the reason this land becomes diseased. As long as you remain alive, you condemn Nosgoth to an eternity of decay.
Be still, Raziel. See this. As Ariel dies, I am being born to take her place as Balance Guardian. Such is my destiny.
My God.
At the moment of my first cry, Ariel's beloved, the Guardian Nutraptor, finds her corpse. Racked with grief and tormented by suspicions of treachery, Nutraptor plunges into a madness which overflows and infects all of the Guardians who are symbiotically bound, including me. The repercussions of Ariel's assassination were expertly calculated. The entire circle descends into madness, and I am tainted at the moment of my birth, instantly rendered incapable of fulfilling the role destiny has prepared for me.
Shall I show you the same mercy you showed the rest of the circle, then? You blithely murdered them to restore their pillars, yet your hand faltered when it came to the final sacrifice. What makes you exempt, Cain? You're merely the last man standing. Why condemn me for simply carrying out what you hadn't the courage to do yourself?
Let's drop the moral posturing, shall we? We both know there's no altruism in this pursuit. Your reckless indignation led you here. I counted on it. There's no shame in it, Raziel. Revenge is motivation enough. At least it's honest. Hate me, but do it honestly. 30 years hence, I am presented with a dilemma. Let's call it a two-sided coin. If the coin falls one way, I sacrifice myself and thus restore the pillars. But as the last surviving vampire in Nosgoth, this would mean the annihilation of our species. Mobius made sure of that. If the coin lands on the reverse, I refuse the sacrifice and thus doom the pillars to an eternity of collapse. Either way, the game is rigged.
We agree, then, that the pillars are crucial and must be restored.
Yes, Raziel. And that's why we've come full circle to this place.
So after all this, you make my case for me. To end this stalemate, you must die so that new Guardians can be born.
The pillars don't belong to them, Raziel. They belong to us.
Your arrogance is boundless, Cain.
There's a third option. A monumental secret, hidden in your very presence here. But it's a secret you have to discover for yourself. Unearth your destiny, Raziel. It's all laid out for you here.
You said it yourself, Cain. There are only two sides to your coin.
Apparently so. But suppose you throw a coin enough times. Suppose one day it lands on its edge.
I'm not a child! You're hurting me! Kratos, help!
Put her down, Zeus! Your obsession with this thing has become somewhat of a nuisance, my son. Release the girl, Zeus! Don't confuse this object, this construction of Hephaestus with your own flesh and blood. But perhaps you already have, Spartan. Your quest for Pandora, your pathetic attempt for atonement from the family you slaughtered, has caused nothing but havoc on Olympus. Look around at what you have done.
I see only what I have come to destroy.
Taking pity on you has been my greatest mistake, Kratos. Just as taking pity on this thing will prove to be your greatest mistake.
This has nothing to do with her!
It has everything to do with her!
Put her down!
As you wish. another stunning failure! Such chaos. I'll have much to do after I kill you.
Face me, father. It is time to end this.
Yes, my son. It is time.
The reign of Olympus ends now.
Gaia! You live?
My world, it bleeds because of you. I never sought your ends, Father. But you have left me no choice.
Your pawn has failed you, Gaia. Perhaps you should have chosen the other one.
Enough! Father and son will die together.
So, he has abandoned you too. So be it. Join me. I will love you more than he. I was adored once above all others. I too didn't deserve to be cast out, abandoned. Now you know what that feels like, don't you? Hate can bring us back, give us strength, embrace it.
It is what is in men's hearts that he cares about. He loves you as he loves me. We have only to ask for forgiveness deep within ourselves and be welcomed back.
You monkeys don't deserve redemption. It is my divine right to rule by his side as an equal, or perhaps more than that.
You would rather rule in power and might than to offer forgiveness and love. This is why you are cast out, unholy one.
You dare to challenge me? You will die for your blasphemy. Your soul belongs to me. My point is that the flaw lays within the very fabrics themselves and has made the universe sort of bipolar in a way. I tried to fix this imbalance before, but it began to cause a state of vacuum decay as two different compositions of the universe cannot coexist at the same time. I had to revert the fabrics back to what it was even, though my solution had brought the universal outcome to exist for eternity, bypassing all the paradoxes such as the current set path we're on, which is destruction due to the one theorized as the entropy paradox. You see, there is a path of progression which leads to the entropy paradox. Its source, as far as I can tell, begins with the formation of the first black hole, then progressed to life that dwelled within the universe to decide to separate from the universe by committing sin, which was an event that took place within the metaphysical fabrics of the early expansion era's photon field as particles were beginning to form into matter. That division from the unity of the universe was the progression of the error within the fabrics and is evident in that point of its progression. Then it furthered its progress by becoming this taint of sin which has decayed the entire multiverse almost except a few scattered universes here and there. But we are still here, which means someone, somewhere will fix this, and it seems I possess the ability to do something about it, so I assume that person is me and would explain the reason I possess such abilities. All my skills now, including this digital avatar, which bypasses the imperfections of the flesh.
Murderer. Your soul is damned.
I ask forgiveness and mercy for those that I have wronged. What I did unknowingly. Yet I would change everything if I could.
He isn't listening, Gabriel. Your fate is fixed.
Every man has the power to repent. I have faith in that. Forgive me. Forgive me, my God.
the universal aspect of decay or dark matter, which is the final state of particle decay and death, the second death. If I take and funnel that instead of feeding the black hole that I tucked into the folds of time that has held the solid universe in place, which would eventually contain more mass than the entire universe at one point and then consume the universe itself, which would be what astrologists have perceived as the entropy paradox. Instead I shall use my magic to tap into the very threads of the universe through the perfected digital avatar. This is why I was chosen, because I was the one who would succeed. So I take and loop the state of decay or the luminescence field into the cosmic web supporting the ever-expanding universe, with which will lead to the evolutionary progression of life into higher states of being. The decay of life is only the physical, and eliminate the regression into rebirth and the loss of wisdom. Learn it from one to the next by replacing it with the energy of a hypernova giant's collision that occurred 980 billion light years from here that almost destroyed the fabrics of reality. I wondered what had happened to the force from that explosion. Okay, now to even out the balance of particles by rerouting the energy excess to the expansion field between cosmic evolution from one-dimensional field to the next, expanding the spatial barriers to allow an ever-expanding universe with a discharge foundation that is fed through the cosmic web's particle decay, recirculating the universal energy and all of the life and matter within it back into the threads, revitalizing the universal energy that allows all of existence to be kinetic energy bound by gravity through vibration, perfectly tuned to an exact measurement without the variable remainder as an exponent. That is our point in the universe, as in from the very beginning through all 16 dimensions or expansion, then collapse into singularity to Big Bang. Each time the dimensions expand. The first dimensional plateau was vibration, created by the first moment of expansion. It began on a microscopic level called a quark in modern times. There the first fusion of particles occurred. The first particles were hydrogen and helium. The third displaced particle that was a part of the first dawn but shouldn't have been present was nitrogen. It was fused using neuroelectric projected emissions that basically 3D carbon printed the particle structure of nitrogen, from the Creator's will, through me. When that happened, the first dimension, vibration, collapsed into the second dimension. It became vibration equals space. Then the second dimension became space and time. Two particle fields, each one was remnants of the first and second dimension. The beginning of time, or the moment of expansion, was the byproduct of that fusion. They fused due to gravitons created by this merger, which created time plus space equals reality, or the solid matter third dimension we exist in now. The next universe will be time plus space plus reality equals existence, or the universe from beginning to end, or from one edge across the universe to the other edge, and the entirety of time consists within that universal boundary, which will be a fourth dimensional universe, and so on and so on. This image you will see here outlines the basic concept of how the multiverse that collapses at the end of each universe and repeats the Big Bang event. Except what actually occurs is that everything that exists is drawn into a finite single particle as it is merged into the one single atom. Then, when that last fusion takes place, the force that binds them all together shuts off because it has no fuel left to sustain itself, for that is what gives gravity its power. The very presence of a single particle that is not the exact duplicate of itself causes the opposing cycle of kinetic friction to begin. The discharge of these opposing particles' motion that is set by the indifference between them uses the energy of the friction to generate more particles like itself, and its reaction causes the particle to generate slowly building momentum due to the resistance to the particle's indifference, duplicating the energy generated proportionate to the frequency of the energy's discharge. Thus this is the source of gravity, the force that binds all things together. So when that energy no longer has anything left to resist, then it no longer can sustain itself, and when that occurs, the energy that packed everything into that finite point is gone. Thus causes the expansion of the new universe's Big Bang. How many times this has happened from where we are in this cycle of eternity, I don't know. From where I stood once and overlooked the vast cascade of them, I lost count around 984, that stretched to the furthest point of the visible horizon. That was the point where all things merge into one as you view the immense capacity of the what still is only a portion of the entire universe. Bringing the universal energy into a single ever-progressing source which all are derived from and thus all are connected. What is above so too shall it be below, and all began from the collision of this massive black hole and the two hypergents' collision. That is the extent of my algorithm's observational effect. Wait, no, there. Further progression of the metaphysical presence. Through that progression I can fold the space between us. Through that progression, the we go. The multiverse is not multiple possible universes existing at the same time. It is the ever-expanding universe at a different frequency of its evolutionary expansion of particle composition as it expands exponentially outward, layering one field over there, next, supporting the ever-increasing mass with each field that develops through cosmic web as it was first created by the Big Bang's rapid expansion, and the raw initial solid particle matter was projected in every direction. So to find the source of the Big Bang, one must follow the comic web to its joint source where all bands of the web converge. Now to return to my dimensional plane within existence by shedding my skin and through my progressing forms through existence. Now, I wait for the vacuum decay effect and send that into the outer edges of the expansion inertia, blending the opposing reality, while it's still in a metaphysical state, to fuel the inertia of the eternal expansion.
Your soap is but you're not a dish. You're a man. Switch to Dr. Squatch Natural Soap for Men. For men who build things. Open pickle jars on the first try. Slay dragons. And let their daughters braid their hair.
I'm never drinking again. Who ordered the shots? Whoever ordered the shots, you're not my friend anymore. Oh, I gotta poop.